to the channel, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. As always, if you're new, don't forget to hit subscribe. We're going to be coming out with tons of new content. This video, I want to take my weekly feature, Torres Take, and bring it to the YouTube channel, maybe make it a little bit more accessible for you guys. It's been a big week this past week in Oregon recruiting, so let's get into it. All right, without a doubt, the biggest headline that we saw this past week in Oregon football recruiting was when the Ducks landed four-star offensive lineman Jonah Miller. Miller, 6'8", 285-pound behemoth offensive lineman, chose the Ducks over fellow finalists Penn State, Texas, Washington, Arizona State, and USC. So with this commitment, another big statement by the Ducks, with their recruiting dominance in the Pac-12. Miller comes from Tucson, Arizona, and with his commitment, the Ducks now have 3 of the top 5 players committed to the class of 2021 from the state of Arizona. Jonah Miller joins Ty Thompson, as well as Bram Walden, who is also an offensive lineman. So that was a really big recruiting win for the Ducks. They're gaining more momentum, and we can really see that Mario Cristobal is building this this recruiting class from the trenches out. Moving right along, the Ducks made another headline this past week when 4-star SoCal cornerback Jalen Davies from Mater Dei included the Ducks in his top 4 schools. The Ducks join Ohio State, Arizona State, and USC in contention for the country's number 12 cornerback. I spoke to Davies in the fall, and this was when things were still a little bit earlier on in his recruitment. The Ducks were catching his eye for a variety of reasons. That family atmosphere is always big. He didn't talk a whole lot about them, but the Ducks have made up some noticeable ground as Davies released a top 7 not too long ago, and the Ducks weren't even in that list. So obviously it says something that they're now back in that list of this top 4 schools. Looking at the 247 Sports crystal ball right now, it's about 50-50 between Arizona State and Ohio State. Ohio State's been putting out a lot of great DBs, so they definitely have that going for them. And Arizona State with Herm Edwards, especially in this past class, we saw them do some damage in California, reeling in LV Bunkley-Shelton, who had been a Ducks lean for a bit. And then Elijah Badger as well from Folsom in Northern California. So Ducks aren't out of it here, but it looks like they're probably not in the lead. So hopefully they can get him back on campus and hopefully make a bigger push in his recruitment. Another target we got an update from this week was Fresno defensive tackle Kiana Williams in the class of 2021. He's a big body guy, 6'5", 290, comes in as the number 30 player in the California rankings. For Williams, Oregon's been looking at him for a while now. It's going to be a Pac-12 battle, I would say, from what I've seen. He told me that Stanford, UCLA, and USC are really heavily involved. If you look at his Twitter, I would probably say that Stanford leads at the moment, but he does hear from the staff at Oregon on a daily basis, so the Ducks are certainly still well in the mix here. He's told me he's trying to visit Oregon once campuses reopen, so like we see with a lot of targets, especially now, it's going to be big to get him on campus to hopefully seal the deal or just move along in his recruitment. Another prospect that we've really had our eyes on for a little bit here is Maliki Montevallo, the Henderson, Nevada tight end. He's a 4-star prospect, top player in the entire state of Nevada, number 4 tight end in the 247 Sports composite for the class of 2021. The Ducks were the last visit that he was able to take prior to campuses shutting down, so I really think that from what I've heard with him, the Ducks made a lasting impression. I did catch up with him in a Zoom interview, so if you'd like, I'll try to link that somewhere and you guys can for sure check that out. He is announcing, recording this on May 23rd, he's announcing in 4 days on the 27th. The Ducks are the strong leader in his 247 crystal ball. So right now, honestly, from what I'm hearing, I'd be shocked if he chose any other school. But some of the other schools that we've seen involved in his recruitment, he has a top 6 right now, are UCLA, Washington, Penn State, Georgia, and Tennessee. The Ducks are in constant communication with Montevallo, so they're in great spot to land him when he makes his commitment. So now I want to get into some of the recent offers that Mario Cristobal and his staff have sent out across the entire country and across multiple classes. This was really a big week for that, so I'm not going to talk about every offer, but I want to talk about some that stood out to me. Here in the class of 2021, one of the offers that we saw him make was to Jordan Moko, a junior college offensive tackle who plays in Snow College in Ephraim, Utah. Some of the other offers that he has to his name are Kansas State, TCU, and Utah. He's the number 12 JUCO player in the country and the top player at his position, which is offensive tackle. So Cristobal, as always, going for the big bodies, 6'5", 300 pounds, trying to build that offensive line. The Ducks also offered 3-star wide receiver Brashard Smith out of Miami Palmetto in Florida. He is the number 2 all-purpose back in this class. This one kind of stuck out to me because I feel like the Ducks have a pretty set list of guys they want at receiver, including the likes of Troy Franklin and Dante Thornton. He is supposed to release his top 6, I believe, later this evening on Saturday, May 23rd. But the Smith offer stands out to me because, like I said, the Ducks are pretty set, it seems like, on who they want. But kind of a late offer here. He is an Under Armour All-American, and just a few days ago he released his top 5 schools, including Auburn, Florida, Miami, Oregon, and Tennessee. So we'll have to see how this one progresses and if he ends up getting on campus. Moving on now to the class of 2022, one offer that caught my eye out of the many that the Ducks made recently was 3-star wide receiver Jaden Marshall from Stockton, California. He attends St. Mary's High School. You might recognize that name because Popo Amave, current Duck defensive lineman, went there. Marshall is rated an 85 on the 247 Sports Composite, number 56 prospect in California, so you see the Ducks still trying to keep that pipeline strong. He is a 2-sport athlete. On top of football, he runs hurdles and sprints during the track and field season, so it's always good to get more athletic players coming in that do multiple sports. And some of his other offers that stood out include California, Nebraska, and USC, trying to keep that pipeline of in-state talent, that strong as well. Another offer you're going to want to keep your eye on is 4-star cornerback Jaden Mickey from Southern California. Mickey attends Corona Centennial High School. He is ranked as the number 18 prospect in the state, as a 4-star, rated 90 by the 247 Sports Composite. I say this is a big one just because the Ducks have really made headlines and a name for themselves by continuously pounding that Southern California pipeline, always trying to get people from USC, UCLA's backyard with all this elite talent. Some of the other offers that stand out for him are Arizona State, Georgia, Michigan State, and USC. So keep an eye on Jaden Mickey. That's another big offer that we saw from the Ducks this week. All right, that will do it for this edition of Torres Take. I try to get the article written on the site every Wednesday for you guys that like to read that, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. I'm going to try to keep these videos coming more regularly for Torres Take on the channel, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys so much for all the support you've been showing the channel. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to see what we can do in the future covering the Ducks. And that'll do it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.